Good morning, Jerry.
Well, good morning, fellas. How are y'all?
I'm doing well. Doing well. What are you driving today?
Well, I started to just leave about an hour ago and come see you guys instead of calling in because I'm in a car that's just really super fast. I've got the 2019 Cadillac ATS-V Coupe, which is, if you followed the V series, there's an ATS-V and there's a CTSV that come in both two-door and four-door, although they dropped the four-door for 2019 in the car that I've got, so it only comes in a coupe now. But I sent you guys some pictures. It is a stunning car to look at. But the big story's under the hood. I mean, this thing has got a six-cylinder, believe it or not, with twin turbos, putting out almost 500 horses. It's got a top speed of 189 miles an hour. It'll go 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. And I tell you, this thing, when you get on it, it is just a monster. And it's interesting because it's not all-wheel drive, which I think the car could use because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but yesterday we had a lot of rain here. I was trying to film with the car, and when I get a car like this, I like to show the acceleration from my point of view. So we put a GoPro behind me looking forward, and it did a pretty good job, even in the rain, from just a dead stop to floorboarding the car. I mean, it lost traction, but it caught up pretty quick. But if it had all-wheel drive, I think this car would they could probably make this car 0 to 60 in 3.2 to 3.3 seconds, which is pretty amazing.
So, which one's the higher end, the CTSV or the ATSV?
Well, CTSV cost a little more. It's a little bit bigger car. This car is not all that large, but it doesn't look like, it looks bigger than it is. And I don't know if it's the stance, because the car is low and wide. It sits close to the ground. It's got carbon fiber all over it. Really cool wheels. But, and I said it when I did the video with it yesterday, I love everything about this car except the price. And it just, I don't get shocked by prices a whole lot anymore. I'm kind of numb to it, to be honest. But this one took me back a little bit. It is a Cadillac. It is fully loaded. It's got everything you can put on it, but it's $80,000 on the window sticker.
Wow, and that's for a car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's a lot of
Jerry.
money for a car. Yes.
We have a texter this morning that says, "What's Jerry's take on the 2019 Jetta R-Line?"
Oh yeah. I haven't had the 19, but I had the 18, and it's a fun car. I tell you what, Volkswagen, they got in trouble with their diesels, and there was a huge scandal over that. And I was very disappointed in them because I love the diesel Volkswagens, and they had a lot of sales to make up when they had to cease selling diesels. So they had to do it with gasoline engine cars, and I tell you, they have done a fantastic job. And that Jetta is probably my favorite. When you get the R-Line, it's a ton of fun to drive and still gets great gas mileage. So I'd say thumbs up when I get my hands on the 2019, but the 2018 was fantastic.
Okay.
All right. Well, what do you have going on CarProUSA.com?
I think the big thing that I'm trying to stress this week, and I'll be talking about Saturday on the air, is it's National Child Safety Week. And people need to make sure that their child seats are properly installed. The statistics are staggering on how many are installed wrong, and it's not easy. I've tried it myself, and it's hard to do. But there are a lot of places, most fire stations, for instance, a lot of the car dealers will help you with it if you're not 100% sure that your child seat is installed properly. And I tell you, unfortunately, too many times people don't find out that their child seat is not installed properly until there's an accident, and then it's too late. So that's kind of the emphasis this week. We do have a couple of really fun classic car auctions coming up. BarrettJackson from Las Vegas starts today, and I've got an article on that talking about some of the cars there and the TV schedule. And then next week, Mecum, who has really come on strong the past few years. Mecum's in Dallas next week. And so people wanted to actually see one of these classic car auctions like you see on TV. Our friends out there can come to Dallas, spend the weekend, and have some fun at the Mecum.
Yeah, and man, there are nice cars on these. I mean,
yeah, boy, especially this BarrettJackson Vegas. They've got over 1,000 cars coming to Mecum, but the really high dollar cars run at BarrettJackson, and I think the Vegas one has emerged as the ultimate of all the places that they go. They're big ones. It used to be Scottsdale, but I think more people enjoy going to Vegas and having some fun.
Yeah,
and so some of the cars that end up there, are some of the nicest around. Yeah, there'll be some $1 million cars on that one.
Yeah, wow. Wish I could afford one because, man, some of those cars are just beautiful, but way out of my league.
I hear you, brother. And one last story that's at the website, because it came up this week. All of a sudden, I started getting all these interview requests about a story that came out in the Wall Street Journal that said that used cars and new cars the spread between those two was the widest it had been in years. And I'm like, that's not true. I mean, that's not true. There are still cases now where new cars and used cars are very close to the same price, especially if that used car is certified. So I wrote about it, and the article's titled, Why Some Used Cars Cost More Than New Ones. And it's pretty eye-opening because I kind of have to explain what goes on inside a car dealership to make the story make sense. And so if people are interested in that, that's at the website, CarProUSA.com.
So the price of used cars, are they so high? I've heard rumors that used cars skyrocketed during cash for clunkers because people would turn their car in and then you wouldn't have that as a used car anymore. Was that an issue?
No, I mean, at the time, yeah, it was. But it wasn't for the mainstream. The tote-the-note places, that dried up a lot of the cars that typically ended up on a tote-the-note, buy here, pay here operation. Yeah. So it was tough on them. But it also created a lot of business that the auto industry desperately needed. But today it's a whole different story. Because the car business has been so good, we've got so many cars coming off lease, from 3 years ago. And that trend will continue for the next 3 years because leasing as a percentage has gone up every single year. So we're going to see a lot of those. But the used car market is very robust. The new car incentives are huge.
Yeah.
And you have to – one thing that just drives me nuts about those articles like the one I referenced is they say used cars, but do they really mean cars or do they really mean used vehicles?
Right.
And that can totally skew an article.
Yeah. Where do you stand on leasing, Jerry? Is leasing a good deal?
It is for a lot of people. It's not for a lot of people. You've got to be mindful of your mileage, and I think that's the big deal. If you're a person who loves to keep a car forever, leasing's not for you. But if you're a person like me who wants the latest and greatest things that come out, and cars are changing so fast today. 3 years, whatever you're driving new, whatever you lease 3 years from now is probably going to look completely different than that, and certainly going to have updated technology and safety features. So if you're one of those people who can resign themselves to say, I don't mind making a car payment the rest of my life to be able to drive a brand new car, not mess with any maintenance, not even have to buy a set of tires, leasing's great for you.
Jerry, I've got to run.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks. CarPro USA's website, and you're on between 11 and 1 every Saturday right here on 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Thanks, Jerry.
See you then.